Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome back to the Spiritual Life Experience. Today, I want to invite you into a journey of imagination, exploration, and transformation. So take a deep breath and let yourself sink into the possibility that everything you think you know about consciousness may only be scratching the surface. What if your awareness could stretch beyond sight, sound, touch, taste, or smell? What if the reality you've been living in is only one layer, a veil covering something much more profound and boundless? Close your eyes for a moment and picture this, a world where you can sense the warmth of another person's emotions, like sunlight on your skin. A world where you can hear the whispers of nature, not just in the rustle of leaves, but in the energy vibrating behind them. A world where colors shimmer with meaning, and silence itself becomes a song of truth. This video will challenge our deepest perceptions. It will invite you to consider that consciousness is not confined to the physical senses, or even to the brain itself. It is something much vaster, something that touches the infinite. By the end of our time together, you will not only have a broader understanding of what consciousness could be, but you will also experience a guided meditation to help you access your own hypersensory awareness, a doorway to peace, to healing, and to spiritual awakening. So let's begin. Imagine that your life is a theater, and the five senses are the only actors allowed on stage. Sight, sound, smell, taste, and touch. They perform so convincingly that you forget there's a whole world of hidden players waiting behind the curtain. What happens when the curtain lifts? What happens when we allow ourselves to sense beyond the familiar? Think about this. From the moment you were born, your reality has been filtered through just 5 channels: sight, sound, taste, touch, and smell. These senses are extraordinary, yes, but they are also gatekeepers. They allow you to experience life in vivid detail, but at the same time, they keep you confined to a narrow slice of what actually exists. Science tells us that the human eye can perceive only a tiny fraction of the electromagnetic spectrum. We see red, blue, and green. But we are blind to ultraviolet and infrared light. Bees navigate by ultraviolet patterns on flowers that are completely invisible to us. Snakes detect heat signatures in the infrared spectrum, allowing them to see the warmth of a mouse in total darkness. Dolphins and bats use echolocation, perceiving echoes as clearly as we perceive sight. These are not superpowers, they are simply senses that belong to other beings. To them, reality looks and feels very different. Now ask yourself, if other creatures inhabit worlds so different from our own, how complete is our picture of reality? Are we, in fact, living inside a sensory prison, believing the walls around us are solid, when they are really just boundaries of perception? Here's a thought experiment. Imagine you suddenly gained a sixth sense. Maybe you could perceive magnetic fields or sense the emotions of others as physical vibrations. How would that change the way you understand life? Would you feel more connected, more compassionate, more aware of your place in the universe? For centuries, humans have trusted the five senses as the foundation of truth. Seeing is believing, we say. But what if seeing is not the whole story? What if believing only what we can see is the very thing that blinds us to the deeper mysteries of existence? This is where our journey begins to shift from the comfortable walls of our sensory prison toward the vast uncharted landscapes of expanded consciousness. If our five senses give us only a fraction of reality, then what lies beyond? This is where both science and spirituality begin to point toward a larger picture. Take, for instance, the concept of quantum entanglement. In physics, it describes particles that remain mysteriously connected, no matter how far apart they are. What happens to one particle is instantly reflected in the other, even across vast distances. Einstein called it spooky action at a distance. But mystics hear in this phrase a familiar truth: Everything is connected. Everything communicates, even beyond the limits of space and time. Then there is the research into subtle energies. Scientists studying bioluminescence in living organisms have found that cells emit tiny bursts of light, almost like whispers of energy. Some researchers suggest these photons may play a role in how our bodies communicate internally. Ancient traditions would call this the aura, the energy field that surrounds and flows through us. Could it be that what mystics have seen for centuries, the glow of a living being, is simply another spectrum our eyes are not yet tuned to perceive? And what about the accounts of sages, shamans, and mystics across cultures? From Tibetan monks describing rainbow bodies of light, to Native American seers who sense the heartbeat of the earth, to modern spiritual teachers who speak of perceiving the interconnected web of all beings, there is a recurring theme. These traditions all point to a kind of hypersensory consciousness, a way of knowing that goes far beyond the ordinary five senses. Imagine for a moment that consciousness itself is not locked inside your skull, but flows through you like a river, extending beyond your body into the field around you. Imagine that you are both the drop of water and the ocean at the same time. When we dare to move beyond the familiar, we begin to glimpse this larger field of awareness. It is here, in the edges of perception, that the boundaries start to blur, and a new vision of reality begins to open. If expanding consciousness sounds abstract, let's ground it in something more familiar: the science of non-ordinary states. These are moments when your awareness shifts beyond its everyday boundaries, moments when the veil lifts. Think of dreams. Each night, you enter a world where time bends, rules dissolve, and your mind weaves entire realities out of nothing. Or consider meditation. When practiced deeply, it can quiet the chatter of the mind so profoundly that people report feelings of timelessness, unity, and boundless peace. Modern research has also revisited ancient practices through the lens of neuroscience. Studies on psychedelic-assisted therapy using substances like psilocybin or MDMA under medical guidance show how these catalysts can dissolve the rigid structures of perception. people describe mystical experiences, a sense of oneness, and deep emotional healing. Interestingly, brain scans reveal that during these states, networks that normally keep our sense of self tightly bound begin to loosen. In that loosening, awareness expands. Neurologists call these peak experiences, where brain activity shifts into unusual patterns. Areas that usually don't talk to each other suddenly light up in harmony, like instruments joining a new symphony. This may be why people describe an expanded sense of meaning, clarity, or unity with all of existence. But you don't need to enter a lab to touch this. Think of times you've lost yourself in music, when a song carried you so deeply that you felt more than human, more than separate. Or recall standing at the edge of a vast ocean, or beneath a night sky filled with stars. Those fleeting moments when you felt connected to everything, as if the universe itself was breathing with you. These too are glimpses into non-ordinary states. Science is beginning to confirm what mystics have whispered. For centuries, consciousness can stretch, open, and expand far beyond the ordinary. And if such glimpses are possible by chance, imagine what becomes possible when we intentionally cultivate them. So how do we go from hearing about expanded consciousness to actually experiencing it? The truth is, you don't need advanced technology, exotic substances, or decades of training to begin. The pathways are already available to you. Simple practices that gently rewire how you experience reality. The first is mindfulness. This is more than just paying attention. It's about tuning into each moment with full presence. When you bring awareness to the rhythm of your breath, the sensation of walking, or even the taste of your food, you begin to notice layers of experience that normally slip past. Suddenly, the world slows down, and hidden details emerge. Another doorway is breathwork. Conscious breathing techniques, like slow diaphragmatic breathing or alternate nostril breathing, can shift your nervous system, calm the mind, and open awareness. In some traditions, breath is considered the bridge between body and spirit. When you regulate it intentionally, you discover that breath doesn't just sustain life, it transforms perception. Then there is sensory deprivation. Think of floating tanks, where sound and light are stripped away, leaving you suspended in warm water. In the absence of familiar stimuli, the mind begins to turn inward. People often report profound visions, deep calm, or even feelings of leaving the body. By reducing the noise of ordinary senses, hypersensory awareness has space to emerge. These practices don't require abandoning your daily life. In fact, integration is the key. A few minutes of mindfulness while washing dishes, or a short breathwork practice before a meeting can ripple outward into the way you relate to others. With consistency, you begin to notice more subtle energies, your own emotions, the atmosphere of a room, even the quiet presence of those around you. The secret ingredient in all of this is intention. What you believe and what you seek shape the experience. If you approach these practices with openness and curiosity, they become more than techniques. They become portals. Through them, you can access a reality that is larger, more luminous, and deeply interconnected. Now, beautiful soul, it's time to move from theory into practice. I invite you to join me in a short guided meditation designed to awaken hypersensory consciousness, the awareness that stretches beyond the limits of the five senses. Find a quiet space where you can sit or lie down comfortably. Let your hands rest gently. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath in and exhale slowly. Again, inhale and release. Feel your body growing heavier, supported by the earth beneath you. With every breath, allow yourself to soften. Now, imagine a gentle sphere of golden light above your head. With each inhale, this light pours into you through your crown, flowing down into your heart, your belly, your legs, all the way to the tips of your toes. With each exhale, feel this light expanding outward, forming a protective aura around you. As you settle here, begin to notice more than just your breath. Feel the subtle vibration in the air around you, as though the space itself is alive. Perhaps you sense warmth, tingling, or waves of calm moving through you. Trust whatever arises. This is your consciousness beginning to reach beyond ordinary perception. Now visualize yourself standing at the edge of a vast field of energy. It shimmers like light on water, endless and alive. Step forward gently into this field. Notice how your body no longer ends at your skin. Your awareness blends with the energy around you. Here, you may sense the emotions of others as ripples in the field, or hear the quiet hum of the universe itself. Allow yourself to rest in this expanded awareness. If a question arises about your path, your purpose, your healing, gently hold it in your heart. Listen for the answer, not in words, but in feelings, images, or a deep inner knowing. Trust that the wisdom you need will reveal itself in the way that's right for you. Now, slowly bring your awareness back. Picture the golden light drawing inward, becoming a calm flame at your heart. Wiggle your fingers and toes. Take a deep breath in. Exhale with a smile. And when you're ready, gently open your eyes. You are here, present, grounded, and yet, something within you has shifted. You've touched the edges of hypersensory consciousness, and you can return anytime you wish. Remember, exploring expanded awareness is not about escaping life, but about living it more fully, with peace, compassion, and purpose. Thank you for sharing this journey with me today on the Spiritual Life Experience. If this meditation resonated with you, share your insights in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us again as we continue exploring the infinite landscapes of the soul. Until next time, may you walk with light, love, and endless curiosity.